Good evening. Welcome to OptionsTender. We're taking a look at the cannabis market as promised. So, just getting started. I had to redo all of these charts for MJ because of the stock reverse split. So, we're going to hash back through this on two kind of layers here. We're going to do the traditional technical analysis layered on with the Elliott wave analysis as well. Okay, and then later on when we do these updates, I'll add on time ratios, different sort of Fibonacci's. But really, we're only in one direction so far. We don't have anything to work with on a positive structure at this point. Okay, but I think it is very important, and I'm glad you guys in the Discord reminded me to do this. This is such an important setup. This is a generational buy. This is very similar to buying Bitcoin when people were using it to purchase pizza, when it was around 10 cents. Okay, so generational buy. I'm looking at this as a corrective wave. Okay, and I can compare this to two different, I wasn't going to do this, but I'll compare this to two different ETFs. The MAG 7 that we have now, that new ETF, and then SMH back when it first started. Okay, there's a very important reason why I'm putting this out to you. They make these ETFs and then they take a big dip. Retail buyers get lost in the mix. And then finally, after a recession or whatever the case is, they become really legit and positively structured, and people, a lot more liquidity, and people use them more often. So here are the individual names that we'll go through. Most of these charts will be on individual analysis through YouTube. So feel free to join that if you want to get these individual names. I'll do updates with MJ every once in a while, maybe on the weekend update or so. It's gonna take time to develop. So accumulate at this point. I've been accumulating for months now on MJ, and now I'm gonna start doing the individual names. So you'll see that in the Discord pretty soon here. All right, so before we go ahead and get this started, let me make this case. Okay, and also while I'm looking this up, please support the channel by becoming a 99-cent YouTube member. We have, all right, jumping into it, we have SMH. Look at back in the day, the year 2000, the tech bubble. They came out with this semiconductor ETF. Everybody jumped into it, right? And it did nothing but tumble. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at right here. Do we make a new low in the cannabis after a run? I mean, that's a long run, you guys. That's a fantastic run. And as a matter of fact, when we get to that point, I'll be looking to shave off a lot of our, investment, or, like I said, the long run. We're talking years, decades that I'm going to play MJ. Maybe you can accumulate into more afterwards. But I always recommend a huge move like this. You got to take something off the table. And then on our pullbacks, you start adding back in over time. Okay, so that was SMH. Retail got in, got demolished into a recession, right? Into 2008. Okay. Now, the MAG 7. I believe it's MAG. Let me look on. Sorry, let me pull up the. I'll just look it up. Magnificent. There's a Bloomberg one. I think it's Mags. Okay, good. Sorry to waste your time here. Make sure you play this on 1.25 or 1.5 speed for all the videos, okay? Just so you can get this information out there. So here we go. So here's the Mag 7. You see this nice run that we had here? This is from the 2023 bottom. So now that I think we're going to a recession, I think this is going to tank well under 30. I think we're going to buy these in possibly single digits here, this ETF, okay? So we had our run, retail's all in there. I think this is going much, much lower into the single digits, and it's going to look just like SMH did. Okay, so now back to our regular broadcast. We have MJ. If you look, it looks exactly like SMH did. Now, if this were to be just like SMH, we'd get a nice run, maybe to the channel top. We make a new low before making new highs, okay? But after a huge run, breaking out of this wedge here, I think there'll be plenty of chances to take some profit off the table. But overall, I want to show you there's two ways to look at this. First of all, in a traditional way, you have this setup here, period. Okay. And typically when you have a wedge like that, you test up to about the 75% area, and that would bring us into the channel. There's another way to look at this on the Elliott wave. I have some time and price, some old ones here, but I'm not gonna use those because I have to redo a lot of things. Okay, so on the monthly Elliott wave, I have this as a 3-wave move down for A, 3-wave move up for B, and then a 5-wave impulse to end with the C, and this move is done, right? And there's another way you could do it. This could be an expanded flat to where A is in down here with the end of the information, at the beginning of the information. You get your B, and then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for your C. So however you count it, doesn't really matter at this point. The whole point is the industry is not going away. As a matter of fact, cigarette companies have already started buying into them, but they're going to start taking holdings, if not just buy out entire sectors of these. And so this isn't going anywhere as the United States legalizes and credit cards are able to use. There's all sorts of catalysts. The moving of the schedule for federal law, legalizing or making it less as illegal, not a what do you call it? A series 1 or some sort of category there, like with cocaine and heroin and things like that. We all know that that's outdated and that's not the case. So this sector isn't going anywhere. So this is a corrective move. All right, that's the whole point of the conversation. And so after a corrective move, we will see new highs. Okay, that's all the way up at 550 after this reverse split. Huge potential gains. This could take 30 years to play out. I don't know that time frame. But with catalysts happening in this is considered a commodity. So with this being a commodity, we can consider this a boom, which I think the commodities are all going to have a boom, while the market technically goes sideways for maybe a decade. So while the market goes sideways, I think the commodities will have a boom, and this will play a part in it. Okay, so let's go back to the traditional look, and we'll run right along here with our top-down analysis. Okay, we have our options tender set up here. You have the MACD, positive divergence right again. Now, I made this channel, I'm just assuming that the low is just about in, so I might have to adjust it. But we have this huge positive divergence. We're in the oversold territory conditions, again, in the monthly time frame, and also the slow stoke. So looking for some sort of bottom to happen here in the monthly. We have the awesome oscillator, positive divergence nearly to that zero line there. So this should start to move higher, start to form a base, form positive market structure, and we should see the awesome oscillator get back above zero, and we can start to break out from that point. The D mark, okay, sequence. We are exhausted on the downside. We have a 9-13 count here. All right, that's a very positive situation. Does it take 2 months for this to resolve? I don't know, but we're getting there. We are so close, and we can get some more information on the lower time frames. Okay, so let's move to the weekly. Here's a good traditional look. There's our wedge. All right. We're right on, and I was very specific to touch the very bottoms of these points here. And we're there. We're at it right now. Just like when I was trying to be very, very precise on the on SPX for those historic trend lines. This is a historic trend line for this sector. We hit the bottom already. Do we tag it one more time a little bit lower? That's the question we're trying to get. So here on the weekly time frame, it appears that we have another consolidation. That could be bottoming. That could be a bottoming consolidation. But with this structure here, maybe that's a 1, 2, 3, and we're getting a wave 4 into a 5, okay? So we might not be at the very bottom on the lower time frames, but on the higher time frames, we're at a bottom, you guys. So let's look at the options tender setup here. Once again, just positive divergence. And what we're looking for at this point on the weekly time frame, we're looking for a histogram that turns green. Okay, so we need to close green. Right now, we're really at the lines are basically touching each other. We're at, if you look at this box up here, the red one. We're still red. We're at a negative 0.222 and such. Okay, so that weekly bullish crossover, when we get that, that's going to be a really good signal, and that's imminent. Okay, we're highly oversold. We haven't been on the weekly time frame. We've only been oversold one previous time. Right now, we're in the 11 range. I think our lowest was 11.189. At this point, but our way back in the day, I did this research. It was in the 10 handle, okay, and that's the lowest. We're at the second lowest ever. Okay, so highly oversold, and again, the slow stoke, we're getting a very, very small buy signal, just a super early buy. Of course, our true buy signal is this 20 line, but we're getting the crossover. I think this is going to start to play a role to the upside, and this is going to start to cycle. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Now moving over to the weekly Elliott, this is where I'm going to start putting together some time and price. Okay, I have some here, and maybe I can use this into the, let's see if we can. It looks like April, the beginning of April. Maybe we have a bottom there. We just have one little line, but I'll update these. Again, these are placed on when the before stocks reverse split. Let's go to the daily. On the daily time frame, you can see that we're forming another wedge within the wedge, okay? So we're going to focus on this high here. I think this is a larger degree, a primary degree wave 4. And now we're playing out this wave 4, which you can draw the bear flag, if you like. Played into the top of the wedge. There's the flag. Broke down from it, back tested, and now continued lower. But we want to focus on the daily time frame with this leg here, and I think this is the fifth wave down. And we just need to answer this question: is this a consolidation where we have our bull impulse move here, and it's our very first impulse move and we're just consolidating for a wave 2 and then we go higher? Or is this actually a bear flag from a higher structure that will break down from? So far, we can't consider anything bullish on any of the time frames, especially, and also the daily as well. With the 8 EMA is pushing down. You see we're rejecting off of there, but so far holding the consolidation area so far. So just a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And you would consider this a left shoulder head and a right shoulder so far. So we'll keep an eye on that. If we can break above this 8 EMA, I think we're going to start to see some sort of run, at least at minimum, to this downtrend line here. But there's probably going to be some sort of catalyst that helps us. And so this could be a pretty large move to happen at first. You know, this could end up being a 5-wave impulse move. We break out, backtest, and so on. But we still need to form some positive structure. Maybe we have a higher low so far. And when we're talking the indicators here, we have positive divergence. We're forming all this positive divergence. We're cycling down on the slow stoke. So if we can see that start to curl back up, maybe with an uptrend here, maybe we can see, if we cross that cover, we can see a move to the upside. Awesome oscillator. We have this positive divergence, all right? Then we had a move up after that. Well, that happened twice, actually. I should draw these in so you can follow along. So we had the positive divergence right up to here. And then we reset and continued. So I'll duplicate this. Continued a positive divergence with lower prices. And then got a large move. And now we burn through that with a whole new leg down, but it's still forming a positive divergence. And then maybe if we eke out a new low back to the trend line of the larger wedge, we'll see another positive divergence there, okay? So that's what we'll keep our eye on. We have DMARC. We have a 9-count sell, a buy signal, 9-count buy signal with a sell exhaustion. Okay. That's something to pay attention to. That's a positive sign. We have a buy signal here with the RSI being oversold and the bottom of the Bollinger Bands exceeding it. So we got a little bounce there. Are we going to come back to it? That's kind of the big question here. And then we'd probably get oversold once again back into the Bollinger Band if it goes down more. But at this point, we're just going to continue to buy and accumulate. So if this goes down, it just gives us more time to accumulate more shares. And then we always love this money flow because it involves volume as well. We have it's very hard to see, but I already checked the prices. 220 right there is the lowest point at the negative 220. And we haven't seen that low again. So we have positive divergence here. And we get the divergence right here, actually, when we made a lower low. And now we should see this start to cycle up. So this positive divergence really is just right here between this low and this low. So that's what we're getting the bounce. Do we make another positive divergence? We shall see. All right, now looking at the Elliott wave on the daily. I'm considering this. Here's the last move. Here's the 5th wave. There's the high of the 5th wave. Now, this acts like a commodity. So the 5th of the 5th, they're always, not always, but the 5th wave is usually the longest wave. Unlike in regular stocks, the 3rd wave is, okay? So we have this as a 1, 2, 3, and then as of this count, we have a 4, with a triangle, and we actually have a triangle within a triangle, and then we continue the extension of wave 5 as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I know that you can count this in a couple different ways, but the gist of it is that this is possibly a wave 4 here, or even this still remains wave 4, and then you get a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then the 1, 2s play out to 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's different ways you can count this, but just working with Elliott wave in conjunction with a traditional analysis, we can see that we're getting near the end of this Elliott wave structure. So let's go to the 65. And then we can kind of see that we're getting to the apex of this move here. So this is, again, the traditional look. You see the wedge gets tighter and tighter. We actually had a throw over underneath that wedge. Now, I know you can probably argue a channel would be more appropriate from that point, but we're back into the wedge and we're getting tight price-wise into this lower degree wedge that formed, okay? We made one, we broke out, got back into that wedge, and now we're at resistance again. So are we going to break out this time? This will be a really early on the 65 minute, an early mark that this downtrend, it's a very valid downtrend with 1, 2, 3 points, 4 points on there. We break out of this, I think we're going to start running a little bit, okay? Getting our first signs possibly of a positive structure. But if we reject off of here, we'll probably see either this wedge retested or even a little bit lower to make a new low here. Okay, so this is where we really start to pay attention. Super important. This is an opportunity to accumulate shares, and then we'll be looking for breakouts in order to play some options on here. And so you can bring up the indicators, just positive divergence. We had our last low. There's the positive divergence here. Positive divergence on the RSI already had the oversold conditions and started breaking to the upside. So you see how this entire range here was underneath the 50 zone. Bearish, 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 bearish. We're starting to see new life, a new condition here. We got to the oversold point and now back to overbought point and now back to oversold. So you see a little change of character here on the 65 minute where we could not even get above basically the 50 line and hold. We never touched the 70 oversold in this. Or overbought. I keep saying over. You guys get what I mean. We never got back above to overbought territory. Okay, and now we're making a positive a buy signal here on the 65 and a slow stoke. So again, something could happen by this week. We'll see what happens going into next week. Awesome oscillator. Positive divergence. DMARC. We had a 913 buy signal, got it. Then we had a exhaustion 9 sell signal, got our correction here, and let's see if we start to take off at this point. Bollinger Band, that same setup. We had the buy setup, we had the sell setup. We're getting ready for a big move. Okay, and what I mean by buy setup is the bottom of the Bollinger Band with oversold conditions. We sprung back, made a positive divergence in this case, had that same setup. But now something else is changing. Price action moved up here, got really tight. We're getting so tight, it's going to expand. Is it going to expand to the downside or the upside at this point? You know, expansion, contraction leads to expansion. It's coming up. It's imminent. And that is it. That's where we're at. If we can, we'll take a look at the Elliott look here on the 65. We're not going back to the interesting. Let me pause it. Okay, there. I got that margin in here again. Okay, so again, this is kind of the last of the waves. After this wave 4, we're looking at this being a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wave move lower. Now, the 5 doesn't have to be in. We could break down from this point and get one more low, but that's what we're looking for. It appears that this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, it appears by this count, if it's clear, that this is done. Okay? And this has a clear 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 3. Got our wave 4 and 5 here. So it appears like it's done. Let's see if that happens. We might take a call trade on this tomorrow, especially if it breaks out. So this is it, you guys. This is a historic. I'm going to leave this video, this full-length video, out here for your analysis, and then we'll revisit this maybe each week or when something happens that changes character, and we'll do it maybe linked onto the weekend video. But if you're a individual analysis YouTube member on YouTube, not Patreon, on YouTube, then you can get the videos for the individual names on here and more updates to the sector. All right. Thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. I hope you find this information wonderful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you in the next video.